We're back with a volley. It's myself, it's his lordship. Good afternoon, good evening, sir. How are you?
I am doing well. Just literally finished off recording chain wrestling, and now let's talk some football.
Indeed. Let's get down to brass tacks, as it were. It's time for the volley. Indeed, we are live on YouTube and Twitch. I am the magnificent Matt Willis, and I am a self-confessed Liverpool biased. And as mentioned before, I'm joined by his lordship. I'll be upstanding for Lord Mags. Your weekend, sir, been good?
Yeah, it's not been too bad. We had a break from creating. You obviously was working this weekend, and Tanner's going through his move and job transitioning. So I thought it was an ideal time for me to kind of take a few days away from creating, spend a bit of quality time with Mrs. Mags. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. Enjoyed it, kind of recharged the batteries. Struggled a little bit to get back into the swing of things. It's weird how you spend a couple of days away and then you suddenly forget how to podcast again. That's shocking, but yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it really is. We recorded an episode of a Changing Attitude on Sunday, and because I'd not recorded anything Friday and Saturday, I was like, where are the buttons? What am I doing? Who is this?
I've done that. I know exactly what you mean at the side of things. And do please give my good wishes to her ladyship, of course. Speaking of good wishes being sent, Dan Griffin's in the chat already saying, good evening, you fine gentlemen. Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Yes.
Indeed.
Definitely check Dan out on UTT podcast. He had the season finale that dropped today. I was graciously allowed to be part of the Simul cast where we covered, James and I from the 90s Wrestling Pod. We covered the Raw, the Raw that kind of was played alongside the last ever Nitro, and Dan and Rob covered that Nitro, and it was an interesting. It was cool to be involved.
Certainly something that is all that fascinating thing. Those sort of weird little takes like that. I love that sort of thing. And Dan himself is saying, I've had a bit of a counter for getting how to record it because it's consistently crap. No, sir, no, you're not that bad.
Well,
I've heard worse.
I plead the fifth.
Well, pleading the fifth. How about we get down to business, Mags, and start talking from as I said, America football. Okay, that's my worst American ambition, and it's going to stop right there. Okay, so let's get cracking with the early game from Saturday, which is Arsenal versus Newcastle. So this was Newcastle. Eddie Howe now in charge, of course. I apologize for your background. It's all good. Obviously,
it's just Chris dying in the background. That's all.
Obviously, we have Mikel Arteta in charge at Arsenal, of course, and he seems to be getting the best out of the team at the moment. Apart from I'm going to call it a blip, really, against Liverpool. Apart from that game, they've been pretty solid, Mags.
Yep, and this, I think it was Eddie Howe's first game actually physically in charge of the team at Newcastle. I think he missed the game last week because of a COVID scare. And yeah, it shows there's still a hell of a lot of work to do. He kind of set out his stall to perhaps contain Arsenal with the way that the teams lined up. It was very defensive minded for Newcastle, and for the first half it kind of worked. I mean, they rode their luck a hell of a lot. Dubravka pulling off some great saves,
amazing saves.
Yeah, especially the one from, I think it was from the shot from Saka, and then the follow up from Aubameyang, which essentially clipped the post. But once that deadlock was broken, they folded like a deck of cards. Saka was lively as always. He's a breath of fresh air watching Saka play. But that goal for Martinelli, the ball from Tomiyasu was stunning. And he had a really good game as well. There was a chance when I think he scarred it over the bar, but he could have easily opened the scoring. But that ball and then the first touch from Martinelli, who'd only just come off the bench, very reminiscent of the Arsenal of old. If you remember the I think it was Bergkamp to Platt goal, where Bergkamp essentially long balled it and Platt was able to kind of get the volley over his shoulder. A little bit reminiscent of that, or maybe even more kind of reminiscent of Frank de Boer to Bergkamp, that kind of play. But it was a glorious touch. No keeper in the world was saving that, and Arsenal back in winning ways and well deserved of this victory.
He made it look so easy. That's the thing. Well, Martinelli, he's a player who my brother, being a massive Arsenal fan, get all soon, James. By the way, it's really a testament to possibly fan pressure, or maybe the fact that he's actually being given a chance now. Martinelli, we were pleading with Martinelli to actually be played because he was a breath of fresh air. And obviously with Smith Rowe, Saka, and Martinelli, it seems now they've got the core of a young, hungry team.
Yeah, and even I'd throw Odegaard in there. I've been a massive champion of Odegaard in the Premier League. I think he in his early career with him going to Real Madrid so young, there was a lot of hype and pressure on him, which he didn't live up to that. But I think coming to Arsenal takes a little bit of that pressure away from him. And I thought in his loan period, he was superb there. They made the signing permanent. And whilst he's gone off the boil a little bit in this game, I thought he played really well. And he did a really good free kick, which brought the best out of Dubravka.
Great save.
Yeah, and then this isn't even like Newcastle were just being dominated because they had their own chances. Someone who we give grief to a hell of a lot on this show, John Joe Shelvey, actually put the ball forward. He had a long range shot tipped onto the bar by Aaron Ramsdale.
What a save that was!
There's been so many good saves this weekend, but Ramsdale again putting in a star performance and essentially helping Arsenal keep a clean sheet in this game. But this wasn't vintage Arsenal, certainly wasn't vintage Newcastle, but Arsenal certainly did enough to win the game. Stats-wise, they just dominated. 24 shots on compared to Newcastle's 9. Only 6 on target, which is something they really need to work on, but they kept the ball 66% of the time. So this is a dominant Arsenal performance.
Absolutely. Obviously, Newcastle had fewer shots, but they made more of them on target. But Ramsdale's open was equal to everything, pretty much. And we've been saying how good Ramsdale is in general. We've been singing his praises, and the transfer fee was very high. We've said this quite often, but it's looking like it's he's starting to pay that back in spades. People got it obviously in the chat. He's saying hello, you beautiful people. I've been called beautiful twice today. That's fantastic, lovely.
Not by me.
Connor. Connor maybe liberated for. Newcastle though, it feels like they're just trying to get by until the transfer window opens. Mate, does it feel that way to you?
I mean, it does. It's felt like that since the Saudis took over. But the issue is they're becoming more and more adrift at the bottom. They're now 3 points behind Norwich and Burnley, and then 6 points behind actually getting clear of relegation. So it's getting to the point where is spending hundreds of millions at the transfer window going to be throwing good money after bad? Because right now you would say they're very much down.
It is feeling that way. I've seen the memes about being the richest club in the world, being the richest club in the championship, which is maybe a little on the harsh side, but technically very accurate. It's very concerning, but at the same time, what I did see in this game was Newcastle. They were played off a park at times by Arsenal. They couldn't get the ball back, but Newcastle, when they did have the ball, in general looked better than they have done under Steve Bruce, and obviously under the interim. Is Eddie Howe the man to keep them up? He needs to be.
I mean, he's had form at keeping teams up in the Premier League, so I will give him that. I don't think he's the long-term manager at Newcastle, but I think for me their issue is going forward. I mean, you've got Callum Wilson who was playing up front, and in the whole game he only touched the ball 13 times. 13, and when you're down in the depths of relegation zone, you need to be scoring goals because you need to be picking up points. And Newcastle don't look like they're going to be picking up points anyway. I mean, their next two games are against Norwich and Burnley, and they are must wins at this point.
They're massive.
If Newcastle don't get 6 points out of those games, the season may be done and dusted for them.
The scary thing is, Mag, that you are 100% right. I fear for Newcastle fans right now because they could be in real trouble. This is match day 13, wasn't it? So
yeah,
we are literally almost at the I think at a third of the way through the season, give or take.
Yeah, pretty much.
And they are in serious trouble, but they have got a transfer window when they could turn things around. But the thing, who's going to go to a sinking ship?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can. We've said this time and time again. It's cool having all the money in the world if you're playing Football Manager or if you're playing FIFA. You've got to think, how are you going to attract big name players to Newcastle when you are sitting clear at the bottom of the league? A third of the season has gone by and you've only got 12. You've only got 6 points. So if you're taking that over the season, that's 18 points. That's relegation tackle. I mean, we've got teams who already have more than 18 points now. Teams like Brighton, teams like Tottenham, who are not having the best of seasons, have got more than 18 points. Even Everton are close to 18 points, and they're having a woeful season. So I think Newcastle have still got a massive job on their hands to climb out of this relegation zone.
Indeed, FIFA Connor over on Twitch, says to me it felt like that since we left Jan with Newcastle. It's it's not looking good for them. Mm-hmm. And Dan Griffin goes on by saying so much depends on new personnel gelling as well. Newcastle need to combine recruitment with getting the best out of the current squad. You cannot replace the entire squad because you could, but you got to have a team there. And Dan Griffin is also saying he's quietly having a shocker at Everton. What a shame. I can tell the sarcasm in his voice. He says that we'll get to them later.
I will certainly get to that.
Indeed. So Arsenal, very, very good performance on their part. They needed the result for sure. They've got some tough games coming up. We're going to move on to Palace and Villa, Max.
Yes.
Seamless transition, that's one for a change. Crystal Palace, who have been in good form this year under Patrick Vieira, but Steven Gerrard, second game, still unbeaten, 100% record. Yep,
and it shows the difference that a new face, a new manager coming in can work for a team. This is a not the result you would have expected from these two teams a month ago. Palace have been flying high, getting some big victories, essentially free scoring. Then you've got Benteke, who's in the form of his life, and you would have thought that they would have seen this fixture come up and think 3 easy points. Villa struggling to put wins together, struggling in front of goal. But Steven Gerrard's come in and he's seemingly breathed a breathe some new life into Aston Villa. There's more passion at the club. They're making the best of John McGinn, who's been he's been one of the shining lights for Villa in the kind of post Jack Grealish era. Whilst the rest of the team are struggling to kind of gel together, as Dan said earlier in the chat, McGinn has been the one shining light. And like I said, that goal, what he scored for the winner, was phenomenal. But it was a little bit earlier than that when he could have done it anyway. When there's a reason why he gets called the Scottish Zidane, because his play, his control is just absolutely superb. But this Villa team played Palace off the park. They did something that not a lot of teams have been able to, and that's keep Palace quiet, keep Palace frustrated. Palace had the majority of the ball, but it's actually Villa who had the more shots, and certainly the more shots on target. This was a very resolute performance by Aston Villa, and they well deserved this victory. I thought that it may kind of all fall kind of at the wayside, especially when Benteke tried that cheeky little kick up and overhead kick, but it wasn't to be. We got a consolation goal, I think it was 5 minutes extra time, but essentially Matty Target and McGinn sealed the points for Villa.
Indeed. John McGinn, we sang his praises during the end of last season, obviously. We obviously sang his praises while he was playing for Scotland at the Euros. And he was one of my first picks for when we did our fancy draft, of course. And I was not letting Tanner get him, for sure. He was and he's doing me well. He's doing me well for sure.
And this game wasn't even without a little bit of drama as well, so it pretty much had all you could want for when Douglas Luiz was sent off for a challenge on, I think it was Kouyaté.
Yes.
But after the referee was essentially summoned to check out the monitor, that was downgraded to a yellow, which I thought was fair. I thought a red card was incredibly harsh, but it's interesting how a little bit of fresh perspective can work wonders for a team, because Villa were struggling, really, really struggling. And then 2 matches in, they're now deeply in mid-table, looking to push into the top half. So it's not over for Villa, even perhaps qualifying for Europe, maybe.
Indeed, to tax like to what Dan Griffin was saying here about for making 13 new songs when they came up last season and went straight back down. Recruitment doesn't stop everything. Villa recruited heavily after they sold Jack Grealish, and they weren't getting
they had
at all.
To be fair, they had to. And I still would say that they spent well. I think that they spent the money well. They got some quality players in, but those quality players have to gel together, and they've struggled to do that. And I think we'll see that with Newcastle. I'm sure they'll bring in quality players. I have no doubt the money will be a defining factor to a lot of the players, but it's getting those players to hit the ground running, and I think Newcastle may struggle with that.
It's very, very possible. Right. I could actually talk about Steven Gerrard's performance as a manager, but I'm not going to, because I want to talk about another important thing. But before we do, we've got some people in the chat we need to check it with again. Few guys saying, I don't think it's silent anymore. 7 games, 21 possible points. He's got 2 about Benitez. Yeah. We will be coming to him. Don't worry about that, Connor. Dan Griffin in the chat is saying, I'm excited to see Leon Bailey hit his stride in the Premier League. Exactly. Yeah. We want to see this. We want to see this. Hello, Michael Pellegrini. Hello, Meg. And
hello, sir.
Matt. Heard of a new interim manager for a big Premier League team.
I don't know where you got that information from. It's incorrect.
We might touch on that in a minute or two. Thank you. Always good to see you, Mike. Always good to see you. So yeah,
absolutely.
So Liverpool, Southampton. You actually put it in the score line, Mags, as well.
Yeah. So I'm going to give props to Steve-O. I know he listens to this this show usually post recording. So first of all, thank you, Steve-O, for tuning in. We always appreciate you. But he was having kind of like a prediction on Elite FPL, and definitely go check out that channel. They are way bigger than us, and they absolutely are amazing. Steve-O and Jason are just outstanding. I really enjoyed their kind of chemistry. And Steve-O's a great guy. But he was doing a prediction, and I said in the chat to his show that I think Liverpool will easily handle Southampton, and he agreed. He thought perhaps 2, maybe 3-0, and I said no, I think this is going to be 4. And lo and behold, it was 4, and lo and behold, it probably should have been more.
Well, I said 7, Mags. So when it was 3 at half time, I thought we're on the way, boys. Didn't happen, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a Southampton, to their credit, turned up with the intent to come and attack Liverpool. However, that only lasted for 2 minutes. Then Jota scored. Jota back in the team, and scores 2 good goals.
And brilliantly worked team goals as well. In a squad full of stars where the goals can come from absolutely anywhere. The fact that Liverpool are playing so well as a team is frightening. The kind of sixth sense that these guys have to be in the right position at the right time. I mean, take that second goal for example, when you had Mane and Robertson, the interplay between those two. In fact, was it the second? No, I think it was the first goal. Essentially, the interplay between. Yeah, it was the first goal between Mane and Robertson, to where they weren't even looking at each other, but they knew instinctively where each person would be. And Jota essentially had the easiest game in the world. Just be at the right place at the right time. The ball will get to you. And he essentially was able to get 2 tap-ins. And I was a critic of spending the money on Diogo Jota when Liverpool did. I'm happy to eat crow on that. I think he's fitted in perfectly. He's very much the predator goal scorer that kind of really complements the mazy runs and wiliness of Salah and Mane. I think those 3 are the most exciting front 3 in Europe. I think you've got a ready-made replacement for Bobby Firmino right there. Then you add the likes of Thiago Alcantara, who is so good at controlling the game in the middle of the park. Him and Hendo have already kind of struck up a really good kind of a sense between each other, dictating the play. And then you get Van Dijk doing the Eric Cantona style pause after he's finished, just standing and soaking up that atmosphere. What a result. And this was at a canter. And we've said this over and over again with Liverpool, that if they went 110% all the way through the game, they would win by double the amount of goals that they've scored. This was a breeze to Liverpool. This was almost like training to Liverpool. It was so dominant, and I feel bad for Southampton because they didn't play particularly bad. It's just that Liverpool are in this mindset now where everything that they do leads to a goal. It's good to watch as a neutral, but scary to watch if you're an opposition fan.
To put it in the context, Mags, but after Jota had scored his second goal, that was 700 goals scored under Jurgen Klopp at Anfield. Not Anfield, but in general. And also, because of that meant that Liverpool became the first top flight team in English football to score at least twice in 17 straight matches in all competitions since 1927.
The amount of records being broke by this Liverpool Klopp team. I mean, we've said that Chelsea have been free scoring, and they have. Chelsea have been a massively free scoring team this season. Liverpool have already got 8 more goals than Chelsea.
And again, how tight it is in this title race already.
39 goals in 13 league games. So an average of 3 goals per game. That's ridiculous numbers. Ridiculous
number indeed. We're going to have one at the moment. We're having some people in the chat having a conversation with themselves, which is always a good thing, obviously. FIFA Connor is saying about fake news about a new interim manager taking over Man United. Steve Bruce on the Man United job, according to Dan Griffin. FIFA Connor then coming back as saying Liverpool versus Southampton, aka Liverpool versus Liverpool B.
I mean, it used to be. I don't think it's
not
particularly like that nowadays.
Not so much nowadays, but not for a good 5 years now, I reckon. Dan Griffin saying, I know I'm biased as a Liverpool fan, but Liverpool's recruitment has been largely excellent. Combining playing style and psychological profile has been masterful. Connor saying, in my opinion, Jota is already better than Firmino.
I would agree. I'm not the massive Firmino fan. But
I can see him take number 9 shirt eventually, yeah.
Yeah. It's good to have options, though. That's the thing. When we saw at the tail end of last season or the middle of last season, when all 3 of the front line were struggling to get amongst the goals. So it's always good to have that option of somebody like Jota to come in and kind of mix it up, rest some of your bigger names and know that it's still going to be a massive goal for it.
Well, you called him for Mag to be dropped in the last season, Mag. I remember you saying very vividly how he was in such bad form and he got his 2 scuffed goals against.
He was reminding me of Martial. There was points in this season when he was reminding me of Martial where he couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo.
Indeed. Dan Griffin, agreeing with what you're saying, Max, as well. Seeing Hendo, Fabinho, and Thiago click warms my heart. The problem we had last season.
Yeah.
And obviously, that means we've got players coming back from injury. Had that little spell where midfield was starting to drop like flies. And thankfully, not been too serious. No time to come back. Now she's good. Having said that, Dan Griffin also says he'd take Livramento out of the current state spot.
And probably Ward-Prowse as well. I think he's quality. And I think Armstrong has got the makings of a top draw striker. Needs maybe a year or 2 to get acclimatized with the Premier League. But Livramento he's a star in the making.
Michael's saying, go to bed now, so like have a happy soccer. Absolutely, buddy. If you want to catch us later on with demand, we'd appreciate it, obviously. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe if not already, mate. Actually, subscribe, we really are.
Yeah, thanks for popping in, Marco. Really do appreciate it. And like I said, this isn't like it was all one way. There was points where Becker was called into action a couple of times.
Indeed. I remember after the game, Klopp was furious with the chances that Liverpool gave away, and he's a perfectionist. Germans are perfectionists. I can't argue that.
And now he's got another German and one of his mentors to battle against. So
could be fun to watch. For sure. Dan Griffin saying Klopp has admitted in hindsight he made a mistake playing Fabinho and Henderson at centre back, and they should have just trusted Phillips and Williams. In hindsight, of course, you say that. But it turns out how good they actually were at the end. We didn't know that they were more than capable. But you take the risk playing academic talents, and you can't always take that risk.
And the bitter irony is that now they'll get even less game time with a fully fit Van Dijk and a Konate who's quickly working his way into being someone who can't be dropped. It's the minutes are going to be they're going to be hard for Phillips and Williams to actually get now.
FIFA Connor saying should have played Alisson at centre half.
I mean, he's big enough to do it.
He did score last season, which is more than I forget his name. That's how much I remember him. Ian Bruce did last season.
20. You got 20 million for that kid. 20 million,
wasn't it?
You absolutely picked the pocket of Sheffield United. Ridiculous.
Yeah, Dan Griffin saying you live and you learn, and also as much as I love Phillips, I wish he'd gone elsewhere to play regularly because obviously our roving reporter, of course, our executive vice president of paper clips and stationery, he wanted to do Burnley, of course.
Yeah, I would have happily had him at Burnley. knowing that we're probably going to lose our one of our main defenders in January. I mean, we may not now, knowing where Newcastle are, but the risk is still there. I would have loved to have had Phillips as a backup.
Maybe so. Dan Griffin saying we ordered Allison as a striker and confirming Brewster was 25 million.
That should be illegal. You should be getting investigated like Juve are for transfer irregularities for ripping Sheffield United off by 25 million.
People kind of saying we all know Adrian is Liverpool's number one goalkeeper in the same way that Cristiano Ronaldo is Man United's number one bench warmer. Conor McCabe in the chat. Hello, Matt and Mags. Welcome.
Hello,
to the
sir.
Volley. Welcome
Hello.
to the Volley. We will move on from Liverpool. Southampton, though. They had this. It stop start with them. One minute they have a good result, like the great point at Goal City, and then they capitulate on other weeks.
Yeah, they're starting to go on a bit of a downward turn now. They've lost the last two games after picking up 2 wins in the games before that. The thing is that it's so tight down that bottom end that it's a couple of bad results and you're dragged into a relegation mire. So yeah, they need to get back on winning ways as soon as possible.
For the context, we're going to get to it at the end of the game probably, but from Leeds in 17th to Tottenham, who are 7th, it's 6 points. It's 7 points.
Yeah,
7 points. Obviously, there is a couple of games in hand in there, but yeah, it's quite tight down there, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Dan Griffin saying we've got to buy 35 million for Jordan Ibe and Dominic Solanke of Bournemouth too. Yep. To be fair, they've better pay the money. If you guys saying to be fair, Benjamin Cristiano Ronaldo got us a point against Chelsea. We are coming to that. We'll move on though from waxing about Liverpool. Let's get some of the less, unfortunately, those shooters here, less interesting games out of the way. Norwich and Wolves.
Oh, this even watching the highlights of this was
dull,
boring.
Wasn't it?
It was so dull.
Big point for Norwich, in my opinion, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge point, but it should have been more. Norwich had plenty of chances.
Pukki had chances to win it, yeah.
Pukki will be kicking himself. I think Norwich altogether had like 14 shots, 4 on target, compared to Wolves' 5. But this was just drab. It was just really, really, really drab. 2 teams who were happy for a point. And I can understand Dean Smith's mindset. At the end of the day, points are on the board are better than nothing. But this is a Wolves team who are looking for a push into Europe. I mean, they were 6th, or they still are 6th. So a win could have helped push into that top 5.
Potentially right on Arsenal's tail, wouldn't they?
Exactly. But there was no get up and go from Wolves. It was very underwhelming.
That's probably the best way of putting it, to be fair. I mean, apart from one with Jimenez and Moutinho were testing Krul, but Krul managed to recover. I don't think
on a very slippy pitch as well. You can see Krul essentially slide across his goal line to make the clearances. Again, another good performance by a goalkeeper. We've seen that quite a lot over this weekend, especially when you saw how rough some of the conditions were.
Especially on Sunday, which we're coming to in a bit.
Yeah, but yeah, this game was very, very missable. Wolves can be kicking themselves that they haven't capitalised on a weak Norwich team, and Norwich are going to be happy for the point, but they should have had more. With a more prolific strike force, they would have easily put this game to bed. Indeed.
There is much more we can say about this game, unfortunately, because it was not a good game. By the same token, the the late game, by the way, which was actually televised. Brighton and Hove Albion versus Leeds United, 0-0 again. This game was better.
It's the same result, but two totally different games for me. Brighton started so brightly. Chances for Trossard, chances for Solly March. I thought Brighton were so unlucky to not come away with the points. The amount of times that my tip for one of a future world beater keeper in Meslier, he was superb this game.
He had a great game.
He really did. But the woodwork also saved Leeds a couple of times. Maupay had a clear-cut chance to win the game. And essentially scarred it from 5 yards out. But Lamptey was bright. I thought he was amazing when he was kind of running down that right wing, really kind of a terrifying Leeds. And it's good to see him back because he's really struggled with injury. But Brighton can be kicking themselves that they didn't come away with the victory, getting nearly double the amount of shots that Leeds had, having way more of the ball. This is certainly points drop for Brighton.
Indeed. I've got problems with Brighton from this game though. And actually it's not the club so much as it is with the fans.
Okay.
The fans booed the team off.
I mean,
you can them off.
Yeah, I mean, as a neutral, you can feel that's a bit shitty from the fans. But this is a team who entered this period still in the top 6, despite not winning in 5 games, and this run is still extended.
Well, actually, it's 9 games now.
What, without a win?
9 games without a win, yes.
But yet they're still on 18 points and they're still in touch of the top 6.
They're 8th right now. They've never finished in the top half of a Premier League before. I'm going to quote Graham Potter. I'm a little perplexed to the reaction in the crowd at the end because the performance was fantastic. The team had a lot of dominant possession. They're like, I run you. We didn't do it today. They're entitled to their opinion, but I disagree entirely. We're sitting 8th in the Premier League, but maybe we need a history lesson on this football club. I'm like,
yeah, and I can kind of see both sides. You've got to say that this Brighton team are outperforming all expectations. Nobody expected them to be top half of the table, but they've set themselves up for that, for having such a great start to the season, that when you still are unable to win in 9 games and yet are still in the top half, the fans are going to start believing that this is their year, that they can do it. And when that doesn't happen, they'll voice their opinions, I suppose. I don't particularly agree with it, and it kind of like puts more pressure on the players to get the results. But if you would have spoken to a Brighton fan before the season and told them that after 13 games you would be top half of the table with 18 points, they would bite your hand off at that. They would absolutely bite your hand off.
Absolutely.
But that's looking at with hindsight.
Absolutely. But to be fair, I think they take it. I think they take it now. To be fair, they should be taking it down, in my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. I mean, let's face it, they drew this game and they still gained a place anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that shows again how tight this like middle part of the league is. Indeed.
We got fifth corner chat with a joke which is almost about one of mine. Maupay is more likely to deserve less pay. I'll see myself out. Stick around, mate, please. Please stick around because your jokes may be of a mat level, but your punditry is usually pretty good. Connor Gabe is saying the thing like about the weekend Premier League fixtures. It's like I watch some football to start my Saturday morning. Athletic games kick off at 10 a.m. here in the Eastern Thailand. This is true. Something we tried to explain to Tanner is that we don't get the games televised that time of day here in the UK. I'd explain it to him with a blackout here. He doesn't get that.
No, the Saturday afternoon blackout, it's so annoying knowing that you guys can watch pretty much any game you want and we can't.
Yeah, Connor's saying, yeah, my jokes are terrible. That's okay. That's a great mate. It's all good. Let's move on, though, Mags, to a game which, as we touched on, of course, on the Sunday games.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Brentford Everton.
Woof.
Woof,
Oh,
indeed.
dear. Oh, I mean, how long has Rafa Benitez got now? He must be clinging on to this job by a thread. I mean, I know you're a guy for the odds. What's the odds on him being the next manager to be sacked?
I will quickly do it, Max, while you tell us how Brentford did in this game.
Brentford did what they've been doing over the last few games, and that's struggled. They started this season and this kind of first year in the Premier League really brightly, have been a team that's not scared of anybody, scoring some really good goals, having some entertaining football, and they've kind of quickly been found out, struggling to get possession from Everton. Everton had almost treble the amount of shots that Brentford had, but they were so wasteful. They are missing Dominic Calvert-Lewin so badly. Rondon, he should have had a hat trick. The amount of chances he had, there was just no. There was no continuity, I suppose, with the Everton forward line. Decore struggled, Allen struggled, Iwobi was as dire as ever, and Brentford essentially smashed and grabbed. They were able to take their very few attempts on goal and create enough that they were able to get the penalty. I wasn't a massive fan of the way Ivan Toney takes penalties. I think him having essentially the one-step run-up, that really annoys me. But you've got to have some confidence to do it, and he certainly has that confidence. Brentford back on in winning ways after really going through a struggling patch, and Everton, where do they pick up their next point? I don't get it.
Well, their next game, Mags, unless my memory fades me, I'm pretty sure they got a tough game. I believe they got the Merseyside derby as their next game. And you know what it is, Mags?
It's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. It's this Wednesday.
Yeah. Well, they've got a tough run over the next 6 games, all the way up to Boxing Day. They've got Liverpool, then they've got Arsenal, they've got Palace, who have been apart from the game against Villa, who've been free scoring. Then they've got to visit Chelsea, they've got Leicester, and then they've got Burnley. So
they've got some tough games.
That's some tough games. The only kind of like respite they get is on the 30th of December when they get a chance to pick up points against Newcastle.
By that point, Newcastle may have turned the corner. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
As few times said, Benitez next to be sacked. Any more need to be said? He's 5-4 favourite.
Jesus, I mean, I don't blame the bookmakers there. He was not well received at Everton anyway, with his histories with Liverpool, so he's got no kind of like sway with the fan base. So every bad result is going to be critiqued even more. But saying that, they've had, like Connor said, in 21 potential points, they picked up 2. That's horrible. That's horrible. So yeah, Benitez is hanging on by a thread. He's got to be.
Indeed, as Dan Griffin says, sleeper agent Benitez. He's also said that he's now heading to bed. But keep a pleasure as always, and obviously do come back next week, sir.
See you later, sir.
Bye-bye. Always pleasure. FIFA Connor is saying, watch long on Wednesday. Maybe, don't know. It all depends if it's televised or not. I imagine it would be. FIFA Connor is saying, I don't think he needed to make it to Christmas. I don't see him making it past the end of this week if he loses to Liverpool. That's unforgivable. Even Ole picked up more points than that. Yes,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Ole was the third best Man United manager in terms of results.
In the post Ferguson era.
Yes, indeed, absolutely. Conor McCabe is saying, did I bet on the game this past weekend? Yes, it's coming up in a few minutes' time, mate. We're going to move quickly to the next game, which unfortunately was postponed. This was I enjoyed the visuals for this match, Max.
Yeah, Burnley got a lot of grief online because of this. Like, imagine a Premier League game being snowed off in 2021, and it had to be Burnley. The Dingles have basically not been able to get them the match cleared. But we had a blizzard up here. The snow came down ridiculously.
Storm Arwen, which has been battered in the UK, of course, it brought the snow, and we're going to get to it with two of the remaining games as well after this. Sean, my favourite visual was Sean Dyche walking around in just a smart shirt and a tie, no jacket on, no coat on. And just say, yeah, ain't that bad. They were clearing it, and it was filling up fast, and they could clear it.
Yeah, and Sean and Conte both said they wanted to play. They wanted to play the game. It was actually the referee's decision to abandon the match, which is probably better for Tottenham because I think we would have spanked them. Burnley are starting to hit form. Tottenham are still doing as woeful as ever. I mean, just previous to this, they got embarrassed again in Europe, getting beat by the Minnows.
For context, they are the lowest ranked side in the entirety of Europe this year, and Tottenham lost to them.
So this has been a saving grace for Conte. He's struggled since being Tottenham manager. He must be kicking himself that he didn't take the Man United job when it was potentially offered to him. We would have beat them. So I'm taking that as a victory. We won 3-0.
To be fair, it probably more to do with the safety for the fans as well, Max.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It had to be. The match had to be called off. Like you said, we've all seen the videos and on the news and on Twitter where they were essentially shoveling the snow to make sure the lines weren't covered up. And by the time they covered one side of the pitch, the other side was covered back up in snow again. It was absolutely horrific snow. It's been brutal here in Burnley for snow this past weekend.
Indeed. By the way, to connect with that, he's going to thank Ole for the Everton job.
Steve Bruce for the Everton job.
And he's also saying, I said this last week, Conte is not doing as well as people thought he would. And you said, give him time. Nah, Conte is not going to do shit at Spurs. I will say that there is still time for him to turn that around, of course. But we'll have to wait for another game for this game, Meg.
And it goes to show how well Tottenham have done over recent history that we're talking about a team still in 7th place now as not performing. That just shows the level that Tottenham have reached. The best ever runners up, I suppose.
Indeed. Now, this next game we're about to talk about, Mags, is probably the most entertaining game of the entire weekend.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And this was one of the most affected by snow. I mean, obviously, the Burnley one and Tottenham being postponed was the most affected. But this one, you watch the first half and it looks like a normal Premier League football game. Yeah. By the time the second half kicked off, the pitch is absolutely covered, and it's almost like we're playing in 2 different games. But yeah, in terms of fun, this was an entertaining game. Ranieri making his return to Leicester since essentially he won the league for him, which was absolutely amazing. But yeah, this game had everything. Mistakes. It had some great finishes. It had predatory poaching by Varda. It had penalties. It had, it just had everything you wanted in a game. And 4-2 was so entertaining to watch.
Conor McCabe agreeing with us, of course. This is a fun game to watch just because of snow in the second half. Indeed, we don't usually see snow on this level in the UK this early in our season. Technically speaking, it's not winter here in the UK yet. It's still autumn technically.
But I've got to give props to the ground staff at Leicester. There was as quick as that snowstorm hit, they worked wonders in making sure the lines were visible. That's one of the massive issues that we have with snow, that the lines you can't tell when balls are going off for throw-ins and for corners and the like. So I've got to give them props. They kept the lines pretty clear. But yeah, it was. It started worrying for Watford when I think it was it Ikong, the defender who decided to duck.
He ducked it. Why are you ducking it?
I mean, there's a rule in English football: if in doubt,
put it out.
Yeah, and he didn't.
See bold tactic back in the day at Arsenal. If in doubt, stick it out, because at the end of the day, you need to clear your lines. He ducked. I mean, did he get a shout from his goalkeeper? I doubt it. Fifth Corner is saying, "Snow, what is snow?" I see that down in the south, and agreeing with us. If in doubt, whip it out.
Yeah, but that left the opening for Maddison, and it was well taken. Same.
He'll never score either goal.
No, absolutely not. And then Vardy followed up with two quick. Vardy's not been in the best of forms. But he followed up with two quick kind of predator goals. Between that, we had the penalty, which I thought it was a penalty by all means, but I wasn't happy with how thick Dennis laid it on. He was caught on the ankle, which was fair enough, but then he started rolling around holding his head, and it's a very European thing to do where you overact it. But it was a well-taken penalty by King. And then it looked like Watford were maybe kind of clawing the way back when Dennis himself got the second. But Lookman, Ademola Lookman, was able to essentially put the game to bed. And yeah, that was a great result for Leicester, another team who have kind of been middling. This is a team who we've seen in the top six for now, the past 4 or 5 years, and these have been struggling to put 2 wins together. Back in winning ways, plenty of goals, so hopefully that can be the kind of revitalising that their season needs.
This is it, exactly. A few corners agreeing with you, but a very Neymar thing. Mm-hmm. But Stranger Bag's not the most bizarre overacting I've seen this weekend. I sent you a link, I believe, of a Palmeiras player who dived to the ground when he was nudged in the back, and he looked around for the referee to play the ball being fouled. It was the referee who tapped him on the back.
Oh wow!
And he was trying to get a foul off the ref tapping him.
That simulation, that should be sending off.
Yeah, I believe the referee just laughed at him and it just carried on. To be fair, it was so the commentary team were actually laughing about it. This was no laughing matter though in this game, because by all accounts, and I'm not entirely sure how true these reports are, but while they were clearing the lines, the goalkeeper was actually trying to get the game called off from Watford.
Okay.
You're trying to get the ref to call the game off.
I mean, I can see his point, because the snow did hit really, really quickly. And I've seen snippets of interviews where Brendan Rodgers was saying he was glad that the game wasn't called off, and he mentioned that he was involved in one Swansea that was called off at halftime against Ipswich. But yeah, I wasn't aware that the goalkeeper put in lots of effort to try and get it called off. Was it Backman, the goalkeeper?
Backman, by all accounts, I'm not entirely sure how true it is. I've seen various things on the Twitterverse, but if that's true, then I'm guessing he wanted it called off so they could come back another time and maybe get a result. That's the case. That's a little bit trying to take a cheap way out. If you're getting beat, you're getting beat at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they were 3-1 down at half time.
I believe so. Yes.
So yeah, it's a bit disingenuous that he's tried to do that. If it's true, like I said, I've not seen anything, but yeah, that's a little bit scummy if that's true.
Indeed. FIFA Colin in the chat is saying, I've heard that Robbie Fowler is good at clearing his lines. We'll leave that one there. I'm not going to comment on God. Okay, we'll go to another snow affected game, which was Man City versus West Ham. We saw the snow come in and then bugger off because of the undersaw heating at the Etihad.
Yeah.
Just to turn it up to full and melted the damn stuff. Man City 2, West Ham 1. It was pretty much City took on West Ham dug in here. They really made things difficult.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of possession, West Ham had the least amount of the ball of any team over the weekend with 31%. Faced 19 shots to their 5, 9 of which were on target. So it just shows how good of a game Fabianski had, that he was able to keep the City at 2 goals. But the snow really did affect this game. There were points where watching the game you could barely see the players. It was that heavy. Interesting that Fernandinho is still alive and still a player. Who'd have thought at like 50 years old or however old he was?
Released in the last season and re-signed in the summer, of course.
Mm-hmm. But this was City winning without putting too much effort in, very much like a lot of their performances from last season, where they did just enough to get the points. Gundogan, I thought, was probably their best player. I thought Mahrez also had a decent game. A little bit of a worry at the end when Lanzini scored, and what a worldie of a goal.
What a world it was.
But other than that, I thought that City were very, very comfortable.
Yes, that goal by Lanzini denied Ederson's 100th clean sheet in all competitions as well for Man City. Which is about
and what a way to take that record off because that was gorgeous.
Last kick of the game as well. We know Lanzini's got a great shot on him. People thought it was going to be a draw, so 2-1 not too far off. I prefer the draw, but it is what it is. Obviously, that was the first time that Fernandinho has scored since October 2018.
And for someone who hasn't scored that since then, it was a very calm, composed finish. Great take by him, especially when you consider the first goal was essentially a Liverpool-esque style tapping, where it was worked to the back line and then came across the defence, and Gundogan just essentially tapped it in after getting to the ball before Johnson. But it's good to see Fernandinho on the goals. It's good to see him get game time because the kind of partnership he had with Fernando and himself was really good. So yeah, I mean, like I said, this is City just coasting to victory as they've been wont to do over the last 18 months or so.
Indeed, we do need to give credit to Lee Jackson, the groundsman at Etihad, because they had to delay the game by 10 minutes before second half, so they could really get it cleared. It was phenomenal work to get it done in that period of time.
Yeah.
And Guardiola gave the Heath about a match today because without him, the game would have been called off.
Yep.
I mean, yes, the undersaw heating finished the job, but he still got to get the first job because it was so deep and so thick in places. Yeah, that's I mean, Ferry has had a decent game, I thought, in general. I think he had a decent game. Yeah. It's a shame that there was nothing more they could get out of the game but just lingering fact that you don't never write West Ham off, as proven that West Ham are the only team to beat Liverpool this season in the league.
Yeah,
any competition.
And even after this result, they're still, I think, top 4.
Oh yeah, still top 4, and when you think about they should definitely be thinking about Champions League this season.
Yeah,
sure.
But it also shows that the top 3 are very quickly breaking away.
They are 7 points off the top, but
if
you think about it, Man United are behind them, Arsenal are behind them, Spurs
Tottenham
behind them, and Villa and Everton, who spent big money, all behind them. West Ham very carefully built this team up. They spent money, but not on that sort of level.
I think David Moyes has totally rebuilt his reputation that was sullied by that Man United move.
Yeah, and even the Sunderland move, for that matter, and Spain, he has completely rebuilt his reputation. And I said this before the West Ham Liverpool game. I do not want to face West Ham United.
No.
A bit like their place. Take them at Anfield, I feel more comfortable there, but they'll still come to your place and they'll dig their heels like they did here. A couple of years ago, they got beaten 5-6-0.
Yeah, they're a hard team to face right now, and the confidence in the team is sky high as well.
Yes, confidence is something which Man City also have. They basically think they can turn up and get the job done. Had to work for this one. West Ham confidence. They believe they could keep them out. They unfortunately couldn't long term, but they did the best they could do. Now to the last game of the weekend, Mags. This is the game that I had my bet on as well.
Yeah, I mean, this was probably if we were covering a game over the weekend, this would have probably been the game that we would have covered. And it's also frustrating because we got a performance by a Man United team that has been so missing for the last 6 months, that a performance that has essentially, where was this team to when Ollie's back was against the wall? It's concerning that pretty much the same players who have let Ollie down time and time again are able to get a point against the league leaders. And it's not like they were outstanding. They still were absolutely dominated all over the pitch. 34% possession, 3 shots compared to Chelsea's 24, 2 shots on target compared to Chelsea's 6, only 2 corners compared to Chelsea's 15. It was very much a backs against the wall performance. But where was that passion? Where was that steel when Ollie needed it?
This is it. I very carefully watched some of the videos being thrown out by the broadcaster Sky, because they had Roy Keane. They've had Roy Keane in that punditry box every game since the Liverpool game. It wasn't every Liverpool game, but every Man United game since then they've had him in there because let's face it, he's gold. He's absolute gold for them at the moment. And he was absolutely furious because Michael Carrick's out there saying like this and they start to play well. They start to get these things like nothing. What's changed? Why weren't they doing this before? Is that the same lineup? Is that the same sort of thing? But you had a plan direction now. Where was his plan direction when you were his assistant?
Yes, exactly.
And this is the thing we've had a problem with, Mag, isn't it? Carrick is not the solution to the problems. At all. Not at all. I've never seen Jorginho make that sort of mistake though in this game.
Wow, what a ridiculous mistake to make as well. I mean, we talk about the Ekong ducking, which is horrific, but knowing that you were the last line of defence after the clearance, seeing the likes of Sancho and Rashford running towards you, why wouldn't you just hoof that ball forward? Why would you?
Or at least play it back to your goalkeeper.
Yeah, but the way he tried to kind of take it, that is somebody who's had so much smoke blown up their arse from being told that you're the best midfielder in the world, that you were one of the best players at the Euros, that you were on the shortlist for the Ballon d'Or, when you're not. And you clearly shouldn't have been in that position. That ball should have been cleared. And his mistake led to Sancho scoring a goal. I mean, he did make
goal of the season, yeah.
Yeah, he did make amends for it with the penalty, but again, that wasn't particularly his doing. That he was just basically the person who put the ball in the end, and kind of like Connor said, the penalty was debatable. But this could have easily been another smash and grab for Man United. And Mendy at the end almost gifted him the game with his ridiculous passing. But
and then Fred passed it back to him.
Yeah, I mean that he had all the time in the world to pick off a shot. But it shows that there's a lot for the incoming interim manager to have to deal with in this. The one interesting point was the fact that Carrick named Ronaldo on the bench, and then bringing him on, Ronaldo not really having much of the say. I think in the post interview, he was asked if Ralph had any say in Ronaldo being on the bench, and Carrick said no, that was not the case, because I don't think Ronaldo is the kind of player that Rangnick will enjoy playing with.
No, but he's all about gegenpress, isn't he?
Yeah, he's essentially the godfather of pressing football. So I suspect players like Cavani will get game time over the likes of Ronaldo.
Sancho and Rashford will certainly get time as well, because they like to press the ball. I can definitely see him making changes to like McTominay and Fred. I definitely think they're going to be moved aside in places for sure. I mean, I like McTominay, don't get me wrong, but I'm not entirely. I mean, to be fair, Wan-Bissaka sort of redeemed himself in this game as well. And the strange thing is, I'm pretty sure that the captain of the Victor Lindelof Appreciation Society, our friend Cy Powell over on Chain Wrestling, will be happy to know that he didn't play too badly. Him and Bailey played really well in this game, and they didn't miss, as you call him, Slabhead Maguire.
And I think they can certainly count themselves lucky. Can Man United? Yeah, I'm fine. I've just got a tickly throat. I haven't got the Rona. Don't panic.
We know, trust me.
But Man United can certainly count themselves lucky. There was a couple of times when Rudiger could have scored.
He hit the bar, and he had one right at the end. And in fact, after that, he didn't leave the pitch for quite a while, and he just was pacing around. He was furious with himself, and I like the passion there.
Yeah, and we saw hints of the Werner of old in his early Chelsea tenure, where he was struggling to get shots on target. There was a chance when he essentially hit a shot well wide. And something that you would have expected a striker of his caliber to at least get on target. And I thought Pulisic did well when he came on. But other than that, this was Man United digging their heels in and just doing a Chelsea and parking the bus and just hoping to come away with something.
Yeah, which is, I mean, to be fair, Man United, relative compared to when they faced Man City and Liverpool and Watford for that matter, they weren't really put under siege
Mm-hmm.
at any point. That's not really the choose your way though, either, is it?
No, I think this was just a bad day at the office for Chelsea in general. On another game, on another day, those 20 plus shots could have easily converted into 5 goals.
Indeed,
so
the
it's
2
just
points.
the luck of the game, I suppose.
Dropping 2 points here though would have Chelsea were huge favourites in this game, and people when I managed to get Man United at 5-1 for my bet for Man United to win the game, and I didn't cash out.
Oof.
I didn't cash out.
Oof.
So
you lost 25 pence.
No, £4, Max.
Gee, you went into the actual pounds.
I
Wow.
put £4 on. Yeah, put £4 on. But yeah, so
that's Chris not eating for the next 3 days now.
The 2 points dropped here for Chelsea could be crucial in the season because they had a 4-point lead. Now it's a 1-point lead with City and Liverpool snapping at their heels. 2 points separate the top 3 after February of the season. This is beautifully tasty for the rest of the season going forward.
And it's not like Chelsea have got an easy game next. They've got West Ham away, so this time next week we may be talking about Liverpool or City. Yeah, we could be talking about Liverpool or City being top because I think you guys have got Wolves.
We got Everton away on Wednesday and we've got Wolves away on Sunday next week. Yeah,
and then Watford they host City at the weekend. So it could be all change. I mean, yeah,
this is a madness. This is obviously season, Christmas time. There's games almost every day. Coming up in the next couple of weeks' time, there'll be a lot of games happening Wednesdays and Thursdays and things like that. Great.
Tomorrow we've got Newcastle, Norwich, Leeds versus Palace. Wednesday, there's 6 games: Southampton, Leicester, Watford, Chelsea, West Ham, Brighton, Wolves, Burnley, Villa, City, Everton, Liverpool. Thursday, Tottenham, Brentford, Manchester United v Arsenal. A break on Friday, and then back on again for Saturday and Sunday and Monday.
The games are coming thick and fast in the Premier League, and we'll cover
like the snow.
And we'll be covering as much as we can on Tekkers, of course. So, Mags, as always, we get to that part of the show where we've discussed all of the games. Who was your player of the week?
I think I'm going to give it to Diogo Jota, just for being the kind of linchpin of that forward lineup. I was tempted to give it as well to Vardy for his brace, but I think the performance that Liverpool put up against Southampton, even though they could have easily gone and turned it up a notch and maybe really humiliated Southampton, I think Jota's performance was outstanding. He was in the right place at every time. He was in the middle of everything that Liverpool was creating. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Diogo Jota.
It's not a bad choice. FIFA Connor saying his player of the weekend is Jamie Vardy. Excellent case made. At the risk of getting ridiculed a little bit, my pick is Thiago Alcantara.
Oh wow! I'm actually surprised because there was a point in the game where he did make a mistake that could have led to a goal.
Indeed, but player of the week, and then don't forget, of course, he played 2 games since we did the Volley last week.
That is true.
And he ran the game against Porto, and he ran the game here as well, to be fair. And he scored 2 very, very good goals this week. And this is more like the Thiago that we were expected to sign. And so I'm very pleased that he is now raised himself back up to the level we were expecting to. I'm not going to take back what I said about him last season. He underperformed last season. He did. This is more like the Thiago we wanted. This was the Thiago everybody wanted, because you want the best players playing to the best of their ability. in the chat quickly. Viva Connor is saying, I'm the only person to pick a non-Liverpool player. Very biased of you, Matt and Max.
I don't support Liverpool. I am not a Liverpool fan. Well, I wouldn't say at all. I like watching them play, but I would normally go against Liverpool just to wind up Tanner and Matt. But I do think that they, as a team, had probably the most dominant performance over the weekend. It should have actually gone to Burnley when we would have destroyed Southampton, Spurs 3-0, but unfortunately that didn't happen.
Con McCabe in the chat is also, just to catch up on one thing he said earlier, I think West Ham's finished in a Champions League spot, and as he said, absolutely on the same page on that one. They're certainly in the conversation for sure. Before we finish up, Max, what is your thoughts on the Ballon d'Or today? Do you think that Lionel Messi deserved to be crowned Ballon d'Or?
No, I don't. I thought it should have been Lewandowski, to be fair. Yeah. After he was essentially robbed of the 2020 Ballon d'Or, I think it's interesting with the Ballon d'Or because they go over a calendar year rather than a season. So you've got to take into account what's happened over the end of one season and the beginning of another season. But either way, Robert Lewandowski,
smashing it.
He's been a machine. He's been an absolute machine. Where Messi has struggled at Barcelona. He hasn't
at PSG.
He hasn't really hit forward at PSG. Hasn't really done anything international wise. It was a ridiculous decision.
He was involved in the Argentina-Brazil fiasco, which is not a good thing. Exactly. We've got
it should have been either Mo Salah or it should have been Robert Lewandowski.
Well, Salah should have won it the year before, obviously. Lewandowski this season he broke the record. He broke Miller's record, so he, just before he passed away himself, so he deserved to have been, in my opinion. As people said, the Ballon d'Or is a joke now. Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or. Okay, you can have that one better, mate. You back on form with that one. Last one from FIFA Connor, actually, Max. Could West Ham win the Europa League this season? In the conversation, you got to include them in the conversation, surely.
Yeah, the issue I would have with that is they would have so many irons in so many fires. I don't think they've got a huge squad, and I think going deep into the Europa League would affect them in terms of the Premier League. I think you would have to kind of make a decision whether you want to push for Champions League spot, or do you want to risk that Champions League spot in the hope of winning the Europa League and then getting into the Champions League via the back door, maybe? But with this David Moyes as manager, who knows? It could easily happen.
This is it, and they've been probably good results, but let's not forget the team dropping down, of course, into Europa League, which I've got to admit I do not like. I am not a fan of if you finish third in your group in the Champions League, you get to play it, you get another roll of the dice in Europa League. And likewise, Europa League, if you finish third in your group there, you go into a playoff round in the Europa Conference. Don't like it. If you're not good enough to get through, fuck off home.
I mean, I understand your point.
Do you know, until Sevilla won Europa League as a direct path to the final before they dropped down to win it a couple of years in a row, sort of thing. The first time they won direct to it. That was in 2014, 15, something like that. I'm not sure. It's along the lines. The last team to actually go from qualifying properly to win the damn thing was Liverpool in 2001. Everyone else, I don't believe so. That's ridiculous.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, we could keep waxing lyrical about Liverpool's European spots to the cows come home, but I'm pretty sure that people will be sick of me doing that, not least Mags. So how about we wrap things up, Mags, and we head to bed ourselves. So where can people find his lordship?
They can find me down here at Podfather Max on the Twitters. I'm also heavily involved in pretty much everything that gets put out on Radio Tekkers, and also on in the chair shot with Changing Attitude and Badlands, and also on Visionaries Global Media. So wherever you have ears and some headphones, you can listen to my dulcet tones.
Indeed, and what dulcet tones they are indeed. Obviously, find me at MattTech UK. Follow this show directly at the Volley Live, and obviously follow us on Twitter at Radio Tekkers. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe here or on Twitch. We'll be back in 7 days' time for Volley. We're going to have a lot of games to talk about, mate. We're going to have 2 rounds of matches to talk about next week. So
Jeebus.
that's going to be exciting, of course. So yeah, on behalf of us all here, Radio Tekkers, this has been the Volley. On behalf of myself and Mags, we're out of here.